Hi everyone, it's Christine from Hollis Create. Today is Sunday, May 19th. This is episode number 57. Welcome to my casual Sunday afternoon. Hair up, short sleeves. It's a great afternoon. I want to welcome everyone. If you are returning, thank you for returning and visiting with me a little bit. If you're new, I hope you have wandered into somewhere that you find some inspiration. And a big thank you for everyone for joining me. This is my YouTube channel about cross stitch and some other crafty endeavors that occasionally I will show, but primarily about cross stitch. I've got a little bit to show this afternoon, and I also want to get to the information on the summer holidays stitch along. And we have a couple of giveaways that I wanted to make sure if you were hoping to get one of the charts to actually use for the summer stitch along, that I would have time to get it to you this week. So we're just going to move right through things fairly quickly today and let you get back to your casual Sunday afternoon. Okay, so what's been going on? April 30th was my last video. And I've just had a little bit of, few things going on the last couple of weeks. Lots of flower planting. I had a pretty peaceful Mother's Day. Savannah, my daughter who lives in Seattle, flew in the Wednesday prior, but she didn't get until like midnight, so really almost Thursday. And then she drove down to see my mom Thursday afternoon, spent the night, came back Friday evening, and then actually flew back to Seattle on Saturday afternoon. So it was kind of a whirlwind trip, but it was good. And, it's nice to get to see her, even though it wasn't on Mother's Day, it was close to Mother's Day. And then my husband had to travel, so he left early on Sunday morning. So I had a very peaceful day. Adam came up and asked if I'd like to go to dinner, and I said sure, and he brought me a really cool birdhouse. He and I watched the birds just about every day while we're working, because there's huge banks of windows behind where my shop is set up, shop area, and so we have a lot of bluebirds and blue jays and all different. I have the Merlin Bird ID app on my phone, so occasionally we'll hear a call that we don't hear often, and so I'll pull it up and we'll listen to see what we have. But we have at least 2 or 3 sets of cardinals and robins galore. So he brought me a really cool, very different birdhouse that's like kind of almost like grapevine-y and mossy, and then it has like a ridge around the back that you can actually plant flowers in. So I have some little flowers planted in it, and hopefully we'll have some occupants very soon. So other than that, it's, just same old, same old. So let's get on to the stitching. Excuse me. I'm going to go through our assignment progress, because if you've been following me, whether on Instagram or through my videos, you know that I belong to a group that does assignment stitching. Not only assignment stitching, but we do our big ones with assignments. So I'll show you those. I'll show you what I've done in some free time, stitch time, which also happened to include some FFOs that I'm really happy about. Then we'll get to the stitch along and some giveaways and things like that. So let's get going. Okay, first, so the night that I filmed last, which I said was on April 30th, that night, and then for a couple more nights, I worked on Live on Little, which is a beautiful summer stitch from Paulette of Plum Street Samplers. And that's so sweet. Lots of stitches, but I love it. So I worked on that. And forgive me, I am not 100% sure what all I have done, but I believe since I last showed you, I finished the waves all the way across, started to fill in, put in this little flower, maybe a little more grass. I definitely did this part of the house. which is, that's kind of not fun stitching. It's beautiful. I love the look of it, but it's not fun stitching. A lot of changes with all those little bricks. So I'm probably, what I'm going to do is, you know, I did this chunk. This is the white outline that runs up. I'm going to go ahead on my next sit down with this, run this up to the roof, and then work on the roof, then come back, maybe do a little more house. I'll probably go somewhere else, you know, and maybe do some grass, then work on the house. I just don't about houses. Ooh. So, and you know, I think I sat, this took me like 4 hours just to do this little chunk. So that is the gorgeous Live on Little. And I'm using called for threads, but I'm using a 46 count Victorian motto linen, which I'm not 100% sure the name of. It's either classic sampler or old sampler. They had a lot of linens that were named sampler. Okay, and bear with me as I switch out these pieces onto my board so that it's easier for you to see as I'm holding them up. I just have one board, so, or one board that I'm dedicating for this reason. Okay, so after my few nights on Live on Little, I pulled out North Pole from Barrick. There we go. And did quite a bit of stitching on this one. I think he got 4 nights. And here's the Santa. Now you might notice the color difference. So he was stitched well, it was stitched in needlepoint silks with a DMC conversion. I'm stitching mine all in DMC. And the needlepoint silk 205 or DMC 356 is what she did the coat in. And I switched it. She actually did the coat, and she did one of the flowers. You see that there's a little bit lighter color flower here and darker here. And so I switched it up, made the 356 the flower on the outside, and changed the coat to, I believe, 355, DMC 355, and then made that flower match, because that would have matched if I would have followed, you know, hers. I just wanted a little bit darker coat on the Santa. And so I think last time I showed you, I had only done maybe 3 lines of coat here. So all the way down, this is the divide in between his jacket and then the top of his boot here. I brought the staff on down, added in a couple more deer, almost a 3rd deer. Let's see, what else did I add? I believe I added in this tree, and I think I started working on this tree. So I'm hoping for a finish in June with this one. I have left myself a lot of trees. I may be screaming by the end, but he's really cool. It's deceptively a lot of stitches because he's only 109 by 212, which on 40 count, which is what this is, that's like 10.5 by 5 3/8. Not a huge piece, right? But that coat, there's a lot of stitching. So it's North Pole by Barrick. Okay. I'll try to do this fairly quickly. All right, and while I was in the Christmas mode, I picked up our next assignment, which is also by Barrick and Heaven and Nature. And Heaven and Nature Sing. As we talk about it in our group, it gets abbreviated down to Heaven and Nature, or H&N. So there we go. Heaven and Nature Scene by Kathy Barrick. And here's my progress. So since I last showed this to you, I put in this big motif. I put in the urn and greenery with the little birds. I added one more cardinal here. I put in this tree and I started this tree. Now, you might notice there's a tree right under his belly. I'm not stitching that tree. If I put a tree in there, it's not going to be one of these ginormous trees because it's the same size as this one. I may put in like something little here to make it look like he's, you know, I guess he's supposed to be frolicking in nature. But that's, I don't know, that may be what I do, is just put in like a little small one to give it a little more depth. But I don't know, that big one bothers me for some reason. So here I've started the pedestal, and so I'll have to finish. To me it looks almost like a mailbox, but you know, the little date thing. And there we go. So I'm hoping for a June finish on this one as well. But boy, again, I've left myself some trees. So I'm going to be deep into the tree nature in June. So, all right. But he is really beautiful. And I'll be very excited to have those two things. Okay. Let's see. Next. Okay. So I had, after working on Heaven and Nature for 4 nights, I really only had time to fit in one more. I found a needle. Sorry. Okay. One more for last week. And that was, I gave Miss Olga one evening. And for Olga's autumn stocking, this is another assignment group, a little bit different group than my other group, but some of the same ladies. And like I said, she got one night. And when I showed you this last time, I just had the pumpkin and this acorn done. And now I have most of Olga in. I have to put in the rest of her eye color and the little pink nose. And then she will be finished. So I was pretty pleased with that for, you know, for one night. And I thought, well, I better put Olga in because, you know, she's the star of the show. With her cranky little face. So I'm stitching her on 46 count Milk and Honey by Fiber on a Whim. And I'm using the called for threads. Okay. Excuse me. So, since I haven't finished this week, right, because I still have one more week in the month, I will be picking up Dwelling Place. But since there's no more progress to show you, I didn't, you know, bring it out. I'm filming, you know, about a week earlier than I probably normally would, but I want to be able to give someone the chance if they've won one of the Plum Street or the Seaside charts and they want to use that for this summer stitching, then I want to give them the opportunity to do that. Okay, so my first Saturday free time stitch this month, I picked up Rejoice Always, which is a LaDDa. You can see there, LaDDa design. It's an older design. I never really had noticed this design before, but then when I was at market this year, my friend Tara and I, she'd gone with me, were in the room where this model was hanging, and we both, it just was stunning to see it in person. So I picked it up on Saturday. And what I was able to put in since I've last shown you this was the word rejoice. And I added a decent amount more of vines. Though I will tell you, I probably frogged as many as I added. holy moly, you really have to be paying attention. You can't be, you know, half watching something or whatever. This would be one that would be good to stitch while you're listening to an audio book or something like that, because you really can miscount on these little viney leaf things. So, but another word in, some more vines and leaves done, and making progress. And you can tell too that I actually started the bottom of the J, because it'll say rejoice across here too. And this I'm stitching on 40 count butterscotch baby, which is a wabi sabi linen from our friend Teresa, who is Shakespeare's Peddler. And her son Harrison was dyeing those linens. Okay, so I did that one on Saturday only. Then on Sunday, I, had been working on His Eyes on the Sparrow on Sundays. But this spring season, I picked out some of my spring whips and brought them forward to be working on them during my free time. And I really started getting some good progress, some momentum on this next design. So I didn't want to put it away. So I kind of shelved, this is almost bigger than my board. So shelved His Eyes on the Sparrow for just a little bit. And I started working on my spring Quaker, which last time I think I was able to show you that I had fixed my error in the basket handle, and I talked about the old purple paint, that I switched the roasted chestnut, all the brown was done in roasted chestnut for the motifs, the Quaker motifs, and I switched mine to old purple paint. But since I last showed you this one, I'm just gonna pull this back a little, I was able to put in this big motif and the J. I put in this motif, the beehive, this bee, the butterfly, the GH, everything above here, all the way to the top. So that takes me to the top on the right side. So I felt like, and then I actually filled in a little bit more of the basket weave. But I feel like I really made some good progress on this one. And I'm only one motif and ABC across here to be all the way top on this side, and then fill in and fill in here. It's still a decent amount of stitching left, but I'm very pleased with the progress that I'm making. It's just a beautiful, beautiful design from Lila Studios. And I'm stitching with all the called for, with the exception of the roasted chestnut, like I talked about, where I'm using the old purple paint by Gentle Art. And I'm stitching this, it's a Lakeside. No, I don't have my card because, let's see, let me look real quick. Lakeside 40 count porcelain. So there you go. And that would be, again, Spring Quaker, Lila Studios. Very happy with this one. I would like to actually keep putting it in my free time stitching until really beginning of summer. Because I would like to start summer Quaker then, but I don't want to start summer Quaker until I have spring Quaker actually finished. I just need one Quaker going at a time. That's a lot of Quakers. Okay, so that left me, that was last weekend. So this weekend, yesterday, I thought, all right, what am I going to pull out? I've been in kind of a mood for nautical or maritime stitching. I'm not 100% sure why. But I also had ordered some frames from one of the local stores to do some framing of some of the smaller pieces that I had stitched, like Folksy Thomas, MH 1860, Liberty 1776, and also my tiny town, Seaside tiny town. And I thought, well, you know, I really need to get some of these FFO'd. I want to share them with you. And then pretty quickly, I'm going to be putting them up for display. So I thought, all right, I'm going to do some lacing and pinning and cutting and all kinds of the things that do some FFOing. So the first thing that I worked on yesterday was the Heart and Hand Seaside Tiny Town. Now, last Saturday or possibly the Saturday before, Priscilla had shown some boards and paddles or things that she had gotten, and I believe it was one of these boards that she had finished one of her new releases for May on, and it's, of course, Hobby Lobby. And my friend Yvette and I both took a trip to Hobby Lobby in our respective cities and sent pictures back and forth. Anyway, I came home with a couple of these small paddles, which I thought would be perfect for little rounds. And I came home with the small paddle, which ended up being absolutely perfect for the Seaside Tiny Town. And you see what I did was I rounded it off, the corners off here, but left the corners straight here because since they go to the end of the paddle, I thought that was kind of cool. It just barely fit though. Had it been much longer, I wouldn't have been able to use this paddle. So I absolutely love that. And then the other paddle that I purchased was this great big long one. And I thought this actually would be perfect for one of the rows from Bent Creek. You know, they have the trick-or-treat row, the Halloween row, I don't know, stitching row, winter row. There's a ton of rows. And I really like the trick-or-treat row, and I really like the Stars and Stripes patriotic row. So those are the two rows that I'm thinking would be really cool to put on here. And I can actually use magnets on here so that I can pop those off and on. The Seaside Tiny Town, that one's not coming off. I'm leaving that because I don't know that I'll stitch any of the other tiny towns. And if I do, I will probably put them on a drum because I actually have the drum from Pete's Beeskeps that the Firths, F-I-R-T-H, that's their last name, Firth, that they made for those tiny towns. And so I have that. So if I do another one, I can use it on that drum. I just love the look of the Seaside on this acacia wood because to me it almost looks like an old oar. I don't know, it just seemed like a good fit to me. So then the next thing I had ordered a frame for was Liberty 1776, which I stitched last summer. And so I worked on lacing and pinning yesterday and got this one put in. I was very happy with how this turned out. The frame, you can kind of see it has like some, you know, it's like it got kind of an antique-y, you know, look to it, which I thought was kind of appropriate for this old style patriotic design. This is Liberty 1776 from Little House Needleworks, and it was a very fun stitch. Now it's a fun FFO going on the wall. I'm very happy about that. And so while I was cranking away with the pinning and the stretching and the lacing and everything, I did MH 1860 from NeedleworkPress. I found this kind of vanilla colored, so, you know, distressed frame that I thought actually brought out the pops of whitewash in the house and in the flowers really well, but with the distressed look. And it's not a shiny, it's a matte finish. So it still looks kind of antique-y as well, like maybe a sampler is complimented by. This one was stitched on 36 count. Another reproduction. One more reproduction by Be Stitch Me, 36 count. And this is from NeedleworkPress MH1860, otherwise known as the Green Bunny sampler, for the little green bunny that's in there. Can you see him? So anyways, very happy with this as well. This one may fit just perfectly up in that spot right there. We'll see. Okay, and at that point, my fingers were sore, so I stopped. I do have a frame for Folksy Thomas. We'll work on getting him pinned and framed and be able to show next time. So, and then, so I did that in the afternoon through the evening a little bit while we were watching the Preakness. We're big racehorse fans. And then in the evening, I was like, well, I want to just pick up something small because I by the time we sat down after dinner, I really didn't feel like pulling out one of the big ones. So, and as I had mentioned, I kind of had been in like this beachy, maritime, nautical type mood. And so this year's one of the market releases from Stacy Nash was Calling of the Sea, which is a little different for Stacy, but I love it. She still had some chickens, but this is a different one for her. So I pulled some 40 count Weeks Platinum. And this is a Zweigart based linen. And I did the little compass. And it was a quick stitch. I mean, you know, I started him and finished him. Now, I asked my group, and so far the consensus coming back is that I do not necessarily need to stitch in here. Next, in the spokes, the gray that it calls for is literally almost identical to this gray linen. So I kind of like it. But, and I was saying this to the ladies, I actually want to stitch a couple of these because this is not very big. This is like maybe 2.5 inches to 3 inches circumference, or diameter actually. Not big at all. So I thought this would be cool if you put it on a couple of different linens, different sizes, have them all made into like little rounds, and you could tuck them in with, you know, some other patriotic type stitching or nautical stitching in a bowl or just in a little vignette. I loved it, and it was so quick. Now, if I would stitch it on a different linen that say is like whiter, like I've got one that's kind of a pale white, gray, white, that would look really good with these colors, I would then stitch the gray in here as well. But I think on this one, I'm going to leave it as it is. So that's cute, and that'll go into my pile to send to my finisher. I'm not going to attempt to do that one on my own. I'm not super great at doing those little round discs. Okay. So that, my friends, was all of my stitching to show you for this time. Are we ready for a stitch along? I hope so. I hope everybody's ready. I did some posts on both my Instagrams. You can follow me for more of my personal stitching and things at McMama Hollis. I always put that information in the description box below. Or you can follow Hollis Hands Create, which obviously is the name of my channel, but also the name of my Etsy shop, where I do sell cross-stitch supplies. So I did a post this past week showing or talking about, announcing that we have a stitch along coming up that's about to start on Memorial Day, which is a week from tomorrow. And I had to come up with a name, and so I did. If you've been following me for any time at all, you know that for the last 4 years, 5 years, something like that, I have been stitching a Plum Street Samplers Rhode Island inspired design, which are all of the historical samplers that Paulette has designed: the Quality Sampler, Heritage Sampler, the New World, and what am I missing? Oh, New Constellation. But this year, I am going to be stitching Liberty's Welcome. which I have had on my bucket list for quite some time. And in the absence of one of the Rhode Island style samplers to be able to stitch, I picked Liberty's Welcome. Now, you are free to pick whatever you want. Does not have to be a Plum Street. In my last video, which was on April 30th, so if you want to go back and look, you can. It's number 56. I highlighted Plum Street because Paulette just excels at patriotic. She excels at most of her designing, but especially patriotic. And so she has quite a few. There were a couple that I did not show. I could have kept going probably for at least another 15, 20 minutes. But I didn't, it was just, it can become overwhelming, right? So I had picked, like I said, Liberty's Welcome. I'm stitching mine on a number 12 Stitch Co. Toasted Mallow, which is a 40 count linen. And I'm using the called for NPI silks. So that's what I'm doing doing for mine. And here is the hashtag, which I did announce in my posts on Instagram. Hollis Summer Holiday Sal. There's so many S's. The full name is Hollis's Summer Holiday Stitch Along. And my son actually came up with that name, Adam. He works, you know, for me or with me. And I was like, well, you can't do that whole thing as a hashtag. So this is what we came up with. Starts Memorial Day, ends hopefully Labor Day. That's the stitch goal or the finish goal date. So you have just a little over 3 months to stitch your design. And, you know, it's whatever you would like to pick. I hope you'll join us. It'll be fun to see lots of great holiday stitching, summer holiday stitching. We do start Memorial Day. We cover over July 4th and we end on Labor Day. So hence the reason it's the Summer Holiday Sal. Okay, I do have one that I'm going to show you, a Plum Street, that I did not show you last time. And this time I'm going to show it to you and I'm going to have it be a giveaway for this next video. So now, by the time I do the next video, I'm sure it'll be, you know, later in June, the stitch along will have started. So I picked one that is small enough that if you wished to start it late, you could do that and still finish probably by Labor Day, no problem. And it is Betsy's Stockings. And if I don't know if you've ever seen these, I've seen these in person and they are adorable. They're stitched on 36 count linen, so they're not huge. And let me see. Oh, each stocking is 49 by 124. But as you can see, unlike a lot of other Paulette designs, these are not super dense. So they are just the sweetest. So I'm going to give this one away for the next, to be drawn on the next video. Please follow all the, you know, standard rules, right? You must be 18 because you're going to have to give me your address so I can mail it to you. Please do not use the word giveaway or freebie. We want this to go to a stitcher. And if you will use the word stockings in your comment, that would be awesome. I'll search for that word, stockings. And I got to tell you, I absolutely love reading everybody's comments and seeing how creative some people are and putting the word, you know, the giveaway word into their sentence or into their comment. I really appreciate it. It's good. And I do try to read everybody's. I may not always comment back, but I do read them and at least try to give you a heart so that you know I've actually read. So that will be the next one. Remember to use the word stockings. And now, I feel like I should do a little drum roll. Oh, real quickly. Somebody asked me what was my favorite. Well, obviously the 4 Rhode Island samplers that I've done, I just am in love with. I absolutely just love them. But I have one that I did a long time ago. This is a Stony Creek. If you've followed me for, over the years that I've been doing floss tube, you will have seen this. And I display it very prominently every year. This is also, let's see if I can keep from having that glare on it. This is from the Let Freedom Ring Patriotic Stitching Book from Stony Creek. I stitched it 2/2 on 32 count Lugana. Oh, there we go. There, I think you can see it really well without the lights and glare. The window's straight across from me, so. But I love him. He was a pill to stitch. It took me, I want to say, probably 3 or 4 years. A lot of confetti stitching in that eagle's head and his nose. But look at those eyes. They look like they're boring right into you. So that is probably one of my favorites. I just love when I take him out, and he stays out year round. I do move him from a place of less prominence, if you say, onto a really large easel that I'd purchased for him to be displayed then, and I move him out around Memorial Day, and he stays out and through Labor Day, mostly probably even into the mid-September, and then he just goes back onto the wall. But I really love him. He's really cool. So okay, so that answered that question. And you guys are like, don't delay anymore, don't delay anymore. Okay, so let's announce the winners. And first, I'm going to announce the winner for the Seaside Alphabet from JBW Designs. This is a very cool long row. And you know, this would probably fit on this paddle. It's pretty cool. Depends on what, count of linen you used, but it's pretty cool. That's this top one. And the winner is Kara Ponder 7893. It's Kara, K-A-R-A, Ponder, P-O-N-D-E-R, 7893. Congratulations. I want to say Kara, because chances are that's your name, but, don't know that 100%. But Kara Ponder, 7893, congrats. You have the Seaside Alphabet coming to you. Just email me with your physical mailing address so that I can get it in the mail to you. And if you would, also let me know if you're intending to stitch it to, want to start on Memorial Day, because I'm going to definitely, as soon as I hear back from my winners, make sure that I get that out like same day if possible. Okay. And then I don't have a physical chart to show you, because if you watched my last video, you saw the Parade of Plum Street Patriotic Stitching that I showed, and what my giveaway was one of those charts of your choice. So the winner of that chart of your choice was Dawn Eck 936. Dawn, D-A-W-N, Eck, E-C-K, 936. Congratulations. And same thing as with Kara Ponder. Please email me your address and I will get that out to you ASAP. And my email address will be in the description box below. And okay, guys, I think I have just whipped right through everything. When you do one, every couple of weeks, not as much content, plus I want to make sure I kind of get this edited and get it up today so that if someone responds back, I can maybe get their chart in the mail to them tomorrow. I hope you loved everything you saw. I loved showing you everything that I showed you. So enjoy your Sunday afternoon or Monday or whenever you're watching this. I hope you are getting in lots of good stitchy time. And let's see, my plans. I'm going to work on Dwelling Place this week. Get ready for Monday's big start on Liberty Welcome. My bag is ready. Everything's ready. And then I'll launch right in. I am going to StitchCon in a few weeks. So the next time I talk to you, it'll be after StitchCon, which is, I believe, maybe like June 5th or something like that. I am going to Weekend A. So if you're going to Weekend A and you see me, please, come up and say something nice, like hello. And I look forward to seeing everybody there. That's going to be fun. And let's see, no other major plans, just good old stitching time for summer. Okay, thank you. Have a great day. Create every day. Take care. Bye-bye.